Hey everyone, how is everyone's going? I hope so. You're doing great, and I am really sorry for all the time it's taken. Actually, so really sorry for that. But I hope so. You're doing fine. October is here. Open source is in the boom side, you can say, because Hacktoberfest is happening. But apart from that, I hope so. You are doing good contributions to the projects. I hope so. You are enjoying the open source world. Those who are new to the open source, I'm hoping you are doing great around it, and I hope so you love our last stream, which is basically with Michael Yuan, who is a founder and founder of secondstate.io and creator of WebSmedge, which is kind of one of my favorite projects because I'm into WebAssembly side actually. But today is something new, you can say, because it's a long time that I can say he's one of my friend from community. He's doing awesome work from around the world, and I really take inspiration from him. So I will love to maybe bring one of my favorite friend from the community, Bart Farell. So hi Bart, how are you? I hope so you're doing fine. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Doing very well. Happy Friday. Happy Hacktoberfest. Very, very good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, but it's a like honor for us to bring you here. Like I see you like I guess a year or 2 year back with I guess on the Kunal stream maybe. But apart from that, when I get into with the CNCF community, I got to know about more about the contribution that you did, and that makes me more motivated towards contributing more to the community. So thanks for that. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so before getting into it, I guess Bart, if like because many peeps are new here, to know you maybe on that front, so can you give you a small introduction around it? Yeah.
Absolutely. First of all, once again, very, very happy to be here. These are the things that I really wish I could get to do more often because I like engaging with younger folks that are starting out in their cloud native journey, getting used to contributing to open source. And so a little bit about my background is that I come from a non-technical background, and I didn't study computer science, and I started working in tech about 8 years ago. And I started working for a British software development company, but here in the north of Spain. I'm originally from the United States, but I've been living in the north of Spain in a city called Bilbao for the last 12 years. And I worked for this tech company, this startup, doing talent management. So everything from internal initiatives around training, also event organization, and then that also built out into social media, content creation, and things of that nature. And then 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to start leading the data on Kubernetes community. And so I did that for around 3 years. And I moved on in March. And since then have been working on other projects. I've been a CNCF ambassador, for the last 2.5 years. And it's been a very, very good experience. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about my background. But like I said, very much from a non-technical perspective. But I found lots of different ways to contribute. And I want to encourage everybody, you do not have to be an expert in Kubernetes or open source or anything of that nature to get involved in the CNCF, or also there are a lot of other communities out there as well. Depending on the technical stack or non-technical stack that you're interested in, it's about finding the place that's right for you. And I'm always happy to speak about that because, like I said, if I can do it, you can too.
Yeah, that's what actually makes more motivated towards your journey, Bart. That's what I listen to and from various kind of thing. But yeah, let's get into the like this is my first question I actually asked to every you can say guest on the stream. What's your definition about open source? Like for me, because even recently I explored hip hop culture actually. So I actually kind of equate open source with the hip hop scene, like how we are representing in hip hop. Like we are from that particular place, we are representing that thing. So for me, like it's kind of open source, just like a culture for us. Like it's kind of concept, it's kind of culture where we are representing our local communities or kind of communities. So that's kind of my take. But what's your what's your definition about open source? I can say, yeah.
That's super cool. And actually, like I said, I come from a non-technical background, but when I was getting my master's degree, I actually focused a lot on culture, and hip hop was one of the major things that I focused on. And it's really interesting that you say that because while hip hop may have common elements in terms of beats, in terms of rhyme schemes, it changes a lot with local culture because of sampling local music, because of blending perhaps traditional music from a certain area, but then giving it a hip hop twist. Doing things, of course, English we can say is sort of the language of hip hop, but it's really cool to listen to hip hop in other languages as well. You can learn other languages. I think that's a great analogy for open source, because while it's true that it's something that's international, that's practiced all over the world, it's the beauty of it is the fact that we're both from completely different countries, but what unites us is the fact that we are in this space, right, in this ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I think connecting that to hip hop is a really cool. This is the first time I've had a lot of conversations about open source, but I've never had somebody relate to hip hop. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. And I think that also in the same way with hip hop, that it offers different ways for people to be involved. So you can be involved in hip hop if you like photography, if you like fashion, we can even go so far as to say, food. There can be connections with that too, in terms of restaurants and different kinds of things that are available from different areas based on their cuisine. So I think open source also offers that opportunity where you get to participate in the way that you want to. And so it's not that you have to, not everyone in hip hop has to be a rapper. You can be a beat maker, you can be a concert organizer. There are lots of different things that you can do. And I think open source offers a similar kind of framework where there are different ways to get involved, and you get out of it what you put into it. So I really like that analogy, and I very much agree.
Like I guess Harsh is like, by the way, Harsh, that what I know about Harsh is also a beat producer before he started with his college. So he's doing some beat production here with some of the like kind of a good rappers in India. So like that's why he's saying sampling is the soul of not only hip hop but the whole music industry around it. But why I get to that analogy actually, because actually recently, like before that, I'm not into hip hop thing, but when COVID hits and I start listening to the Indian scene actually, then I see a lot of kind of comparison between when we talk about communities and when we talk about in general hip hop or representing hip hop around that. So like my favorite is Krishna, because we here in India kind of call him like a Eminem, because the rhyming scheme, the rhyming patterns with it, and around that, and he has some more collaboration with US artists also. So that's why what intrigued us, like what basically intrigued me around and to discover more about it. But I guess let's jump to the major thing.
Okay.
I know you are from non-technical background, and many people think like even though some people are from technical background also, like they are pursuing, even though they don't know why they are pursuing in India, like I'm just talking about from here perspective, they are really scared of, I will say, people are very bashing them to say, like, if you are not an engineer, if you are going into non-technical thing, even though you are into tech space but you are doing non-technical stuff, then like people bashing them like it's not for your the long term, what are you doing, you're basically wasting your time or wasting your life kind of thing. So what's your take around it? Even though you're from non-technical background, you have that perspective also. But suppose for me, I'm basically graduated from a technical institution and I'm doing non-technical stuff, suppose. So like many people bashing here there, so what's your take? Because many students actually approached me over the same question. So like sir, I really wanted to be part of non-technical part of technical thing, but many people bashing them, or like specifically that they say developers actually bashing them, why are you doing this is not your, you can say, genre about doing this thing. Basically you are more on an engineer part of it. So what's your take around that? Like, because you will know the you can say you know the vibe of it majorly around it. So
Yeah, those are great points. Haters gonna hate and ain'ters gonna hate. So it's that's okay. And I also understand is that when people are brought up with a certain mindset that like you study this, you do that, it means that anything that deviates from that just can't happen because of different reasons, because you've been told that. And also, if you don't have examples, if you don't know people that are actually doing the thing that you want to be doing, it's going to sound strange. And I have to say, in my particular case, like it did seem a little bit complicated. Like, ooh, how can I be in a really technical area without having really strong technical skills? Like, an imposter syndrome can set in, and all those different things. But what's really important is that if you find examples of people that are, let's say, content creators or event organizers or people that are working in different community roles, yes, you do need to understand some aspects of the technical challenges that people are facing. And what I really want to get to is that every single developer, sysadmin, database administrator, et cetera, they're all dealing with pain points, with frustrations, with difficulties, with challenges, with things that make them want to tear their hair out. And all those things relate to human emotions, right? Reactions, like I said, despair, anger, frustration, all those things. Those are not technical things. They may be caused by technical problems, but the reaction is a very human one that, like I said, is rooted in emotions. And it's interesting because yesterday we just did our CNCF meetup here in Bilbao. The amount of time we spent talking about human problems and difficulties around, for technical adoption to happen, there has to be convincing persuasion, there has to be empathy. True. So, and all those are non-technical. And so I'm hearing a lot from people that are extremely technical, how non-technical things form a very, very large part of their jobs. Because at the end of the day, we all work with people as of right now. It could change in the future, but as of right now, you know, that part's very, very strong there. So I do understand where the logic comes from, that no, you have to be. And the other thing as well, too, I mean, a separate conversation is, do you need a university degree to be a good programmer or developer or, like I said, in a technical role? Not really. I mean, like nowadays with most things other than brain surgery and some specific degrees, you can, I mean, I wouldn't watch a brain surgery tutorial on YouTube, you know what I mean? But like, if you read documentation, and you get involved in a community and you start building, you know, personal projects, you can get that hands-on experience. Universities give you a piece of paper that in certain countries are more valuable than others. I have to say, I have really good friends that are CTOs that have started their own companies that didn't finish university, and they learned all these things on the go. So if you're really hungry for knowledge, you'll find it. But going back to the specific point about non-technical possibilities or pathways that can become a career, absolutely. You need to find those people, find those examples. I mean, I can help people out easily there because I know a fair amount of people that are doing wonderful things in the open source ecosystem and are not doing technical things in their day-to-day. Like I said, it is important to understand at least the basics, because if not, it's going to sound like someone speaking another language to you. But it doesn't mean that you have to be a hardcore technical person. All the technical people can be learning non-technical things, and non-technical people can be learning technical things. It has to go both ways. But I like I said, I do understand where that mindset comes from. But the more and more that you get out there, the more and more you see that I'm not the only person that comes from a non-technical background who's doing what I'm doing. And I will say in the beginning, it was a little bit difficult, but it was really just a question of meeting more people and realizing, oh, okay, I can do this. And here I am today talking to you, right? And I could talk about all the different things that I've done. And you have to have faith in yourself. It does take time, but make community part of the solution. Get out there and meet other people, show people what you can do, figure out what you have to offer. And then from there, like I said, it's really just a question of time.
True, got it. So like, because you're part of, obviously, I know you've been a part of, I guess you are also doing ambassador program kind for kids, I guess, a long back day. So like many people thinks like more like how they can start contributing to Kubernetes, even though it's very welcome community, but how they can get started with, there are a lot of people actually who wanted to contribute to like a single basic contribution in Kubernetes, but they didn't know because they think like it's a very big repo, how they can start contributing to, or like in general cloud native community. Like what's your thought process, how we can get started with community kind of thing? So yeah.
Very good question. And this is a question that the topic that I've spoken about frequently. So like I completely understand, is because, and it's something that as ambassadors, we've talked about a lot, that like there needs to be an easier onboarding process for people to get involved, because I feel like we're missing out on a lot of potential contributors that if they just see the CNCF landscape, they're going to get overwhelmed really quickly. The number one thing that I tell people is that in terms of contributing to Kubernetes or the CNCF or anywhere really, but particularly if you feel like there's a technical gap, the worst thing that you can do is to be in a hurry. Do not be in a hurry. All right. It's going to take time. It's going to take a little bit of trial and error. It's going to take a little bit of patience and asking questions and finding basic resources. One of the best resources for people to get started by far, and also it's also an open source project where people can also make non-technical contributions, is the Cloud Native Glossary. All right. So it's a resource that I can share right here. And it's also there's been an open source project around getting this glossary translated to different languages, the localization project, right? A wonderful person who was an intern for me, Kunal Verma, was very involved in that in terms of getting it translated to Hindi. Shout out to Kunal, wonderful person. And like I said, once you understand those basic terms, you don't need to understand all of them 100%, all right? But just go out there. And the other thing that you can do is learning in public. So when you say, hey, do you know what this word means? And you write a post on Twitter, you write a post on LinkedIn, or you write a blog about it, that's also a contribution, right? Because you're helping other people learn. If other people your age or with your skill set or experience see that someone else that's their age or around the same age or in, like I said, similar background is making progress with these things, that gives them confidence. That makes it easier for them to get involved, right? So that is a contribution. I would say that the number one thing though, like I said, time and time again, you're not going to learn Kubernetes in a week. You're not going to learn it in a month. Everyone will learn it in the time that it takes them. All right. But don't, there's no gun to your head saying that you have to learn this, right away. That's nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. Because that's going to mean suffering. That's going to mean frustration. That's going to mean feeling bad, more of an imposter syndrome. Enjoy the process. Take it easy. Go slow. Find a local meetup group. All right. Or if you don't have one nearby, message the person who's organizing the nearest one saying, hey, I'd like to get started. What are some basic resources? Ask for help. Also, Google is your friend, all right? Google and Stack Overflow are your friend. GitHub is your friend. Check those things out. Any good open source project that you will see in the CNCF landscape will have good first issues, will have a contributor guide. Read that stuff. Number two problem that I see, which is part of problem number one, because of being in a hurry, people will just run in and will ask questions like, what is Kubernetes? It's like, well, you can find that answer in Google, dude. Like, go look for that on your own. When people see that you've taken the time to look at resource and say, I've watched this video, I read this blog, I've looked at the documentation, I'm still having trouble with this particular thing, then people in a Slack channel will say, okay, this person's made an effort. Don't start just DMing the maintainer, all right? Take your time. And when I say take your time, watch a couple videos, read a couple of blog posts, look at other first issues that have been, that people, like I said, have been solved. So you say like, okay, I think I can do this. Basic thing as well, correcting typographical errors in documentation, constantly referenced by CNCF ambassadors and maintainers as a great way to get involved. People make mistakes, go in there and check, all right? Documentation is extremely important. So like I said, it's something that seems very non-technical, but it's absolutely essential for any good project to have good documentation. So I would say the biggest problems that I see, being in a hurry, and because of that, not representing yourself in the best way possible as a curious person who's passionate, who wants to learn, who wants to share. Make sure that you're building that into the process wherever you're contributing so that people are going to take you more seriously. Also, the thing is as well, these things, going back to non-technical things, being consistent, being empathetic, showing up to meetings again and again and again, asking how you can help. These are all non-technical ways of getting involved that will show people that you're serious. If someone just goes to a couple of meetings for an open source project and then disappears, well, then that's not really the most sustainable, lasting, meaningful contribution. In general, it means showing up again and again and again. Sometimes you won't understand a lot of things that people are talking about. That's okay. Don't worry. All right. We've all been there. I've been there as well. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. But if you dig into the documentation, if you look at basic tutorials, if you look at those good first issues, the chances of success are going to be much, much higher. And you're going to feel a lot better about yourself because you're going to be making contributions based on knowledge and also building relationships. And as soon as possible, build relationships with people that are outside of your country so that you get to, like you said, it's the hip hop culture. It's the open source culture. You get to learn about people from other places. You get to learn about other languages, lots of different things. And finding things where you can connect, whether it's hip hop or food or sports, it doesn't matter. But those things are what really, really build strong connections that will make your experience much better in the long term.
Really, really valid points, if I will say, Bart, like totally around it. I guess Harsh have one question.
Yes.
Harsh is saying how community helped in your pathway and what were your major takeaways from it?
Great question there. So community is extremely important. All right. And as much as possible, the thing is, whether it's for open source or whether it's for anything really, is like make community part of your solution. All right. Don't just suffer in silence. Get out there and find a group of people that are interested in something similar so you can share passions, you can share ideas, you can grow, and you can learn with them. If you treat the communities that you're in with respect, with genuine curiosity, and with a spirit of wanting to pay it forward, that's what's really going to make the difference. Asking questions is also a contribution because you're giving somebody the opportunity to share their knowledge, all right? And so if you're not sure about something, just ask. Like I said, first consult Google, consult other resources if you have them, but then ask questions, because if you have a doubt, then someone else probably has the same one. And then that can be added to, once again, first issues or frequently asked questions, because if you have that question or doubt, somebody else probably does too. So for me, community has been very helpful because it's where I found other people that, once again, maybe came from a non-technical background. I belong to a community that's called Community Club. That's for people that are community builders and work in the space. They have a Slack channel. They have a lot of different resources. And it's something that I wish I had gotten into previously to understand more about how communities work, what drives communities, what makes a healthy community, things that you want to avoid, all sorts of different things, best practices. Every community is going to be a little bit different and have its own sort of like look and feel and the common experiences and shared values. But community has been very helpful for me as a guiding resource to not feel alone. Also, we're in this very much like, post-pandemic, like online world where we don't interact in person perhaps as much as before, but being able to connect with people in different countries that have common problems has been extremely beneficial. I was building a community before, and also the word community sometimes can be a little bit misunderstood. Your family can be a community. Your neighbors are a community. Your university, there are lots, we're all parts of different communities. It's not just things on Slack, right? And so sometimes this word community is used, for me, sometimes a little bit in an incorrect way, or people use it as a marketing scheme and things like that. For me, generally, is that it's a group of people with some kind of shared objective or have something in common. And so it's something we've all been a part of since we were children, all right? Or since we were born, basically, because, we're born into a family. And so because of that, a lot of people have a lot more community knowledge than they might realize. There are other technical aspects in terms of specific online communities, in terms of how they work. But at the end of the day, it's something that's very, very human. So yeah, it's something that I find very interesting. If people are interested in taking that further, the two people that are by far like the biggest leaders when it comes to community, one is John O'Bacon, who wrote a very good book. I will drop the link here on YouTube. So John O'Bacon's a very good person to follow. He's written books, he's done different courses, and very much in open source. And then also Mary Thingvall. So the two of them are sort of the people that like wrote the books on community. They each have their own books. And like I said, they've given lots of talks and podcasts. If you're interested in understanding more about how communities work specifically, I would highly recommend both of them. I would say that those things are things that I wish I had done when I got started out, but I'm very glad that I've met John O'Bacon in person and haven't met Mary yet. But like those are things that I highly recommend if you want to get involved in this stuff. The good thing is that other people have taken the time to write these things down and create these resources. So take advantage of them.
Thanks, Bart, for that. And I obviously I will share for that those links in the description. I will update the description, folks. After the stream, you can check it out, and you can obviously go through for that book. And for the next thing, obviously, right now you are in a part of CubeFM. And can you tell us about what is CubeFM? And,
yeah, for sure. So CubeFM is a podcast that I started with an organization called Learn Kubernetes. So yeah, learnkates.io. And excuse me. And so basically looking at there are a lot of podcasts that are out there. And so what we want to do is, content that's very much, for the community and by the community. So like in that sense is looking for, there are a lot of people that are quite visible, but then there are some that aren't as visible. So we're trying to find examples of people that perhaps have written blogs, have written articles, but haven't done a podcast yet. And so if someone's taken the time to write a blog or an article or a post, they've obviously put a lot of thought into a particular topic, and they're trying to help others level up, right? A big part of what we're doing is trying to show other people how they can, improve their technical or non-technical skills And in order to do so is what are the resources that are going to be most helpful for that. So KubeFM is all about getting, the latest trends in the Kubernetes ecosystem, whether it's around OpenTelemetry or, OpenTofu, the new project related to Terraform, or it could be anything related to networking policies. There are tons of topics, right? The Kubernetes ecosystem is very big. So what we're doing is reaching out and talking to people to have conversations. So there's no slides, there's no code, nothing like that. Just to hear about their experience of how and why they decided to focus on a particular issue, a particular problem, and what are the things that are informing their technological choices. We understand very well that anytime you're using one technology, it's at the expense of another. The example of Kubernetes might be a little bit unique because Kubernetes as it stands has no direct competitors when it comes to container orchestration. Back in the day when all of you were very, very young and I was younger, about, let's say 6 years ago, there was a container orchestration wars between Kubernetes and what was called Mesos from the Apache Foundation. Kubernetes very much won that battle, we can say. And so as the sort of de facto standard. There are, other resources in terms of containers like Docker that everyone's quite familiar with. But like I said, when it comes to any technology, there are always going to be trade-offs, right? I get this, but I don't get that. So why do people choose one technology over another? That's a lot of what's driving the conversations that we're having in KubeFM. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. And we've done 4 episodes. Well, we've launched 4 episodes now. I've recorded 4 more this week. And so you'll be seeing more and more content coming out about that. I'll be interviewing people at Cloud Native Rejects and KubeCon in Chicago for KubeFM as well. And so that's one of my newest projects and really enjoying it so far.
Great. By the way, the links for cube.fm is in the link in the description where you can check it out. I hope so. There's some blogs kind of thing also, so you can check it out around the whole thing. So about if you want to get started with the Kubernetes. And again, for starting any contribution in anything, you can start it right now. It's nothing like you have to basically obviously you can. I will just say learn by doing kind of thing. Let's just learn by doing that stuff. That will be better for you to basically get started. Otherwise, if you think you will take 3 months to understand that, then you can start off. It doesn't make sense to me also for many times.
And that's the thing. Think about anything that you've done in your life. When was something that you've done in your life that you were good within the first 10 minutes? Maybe it could happen, all right? Sometimes people have lots of natural abilities. But there's a really good quote from, I believe, Ian Coldwater, who said that the first step to becoming good at something is being bad at it. Like, it's normal. Whether it's riding a bicycle or learning a language, like I speak English, I speak Spanish. When I first started learning Spanish, it was awful. Like, I made mistakes all the time. And it was terrible. In sports, I do boxing. When I started doing boxing, I was like falling all over the place, like literally. And now that's not the case. But it took a while, lots of mistakes, making mistakes, being corrected, and Kubernetes is no exception, or any technology. Like it's gonna take time. Don't be hard on yourself. And like I said, don't be in a hurry. Enjoy the process. Like you said, learn by doing, learn in public. One thing that Kunal Kushwaha often says is the best way to get involved is to get involved. Like, don't worry about that. Like, find what's going to ask yourself, what am I good at? Am I good at writing? Am I good at speaking? Am I good at, am I good with documentation? Do I speak multiple languages so I can help translate? Think about what skill sets you have. And based on that, that's what you can offer to open source. You need to start thinking about, I need to develop a completely different skill set. No. What are the things that you're already good at? And it doesn't matter that you're young. You've had thousands of experiences despite your age. So based on the things that you've done well in the past, how can you channel those into the open source project that you're going to be working on? And that's why people have, no matter what their age, have tons of stuff to offer. So like you said, don't worry, learn by doing, just get involved and start making it happen.
Yeah, that's also valid point, because through my open source journey also, I see that many people actually approached me around sir, first we have to understand the repo, then maybe firstly we have to learn something, then we can get off. No bro, you can start off right now. It's just using start with documentation. So just googling everything that you are think unknown, and you can find the answers. But this by this, basically.
That's it.
So,
and then write about it. Tell people like, today I learned this. Tomorrow I'm going to learn that. Just tell us what you're doing. Somebody else then in your network will get the spark and see, oh, if my friend's doing it, I can probably do it too. And all the while, you'll be building your personal brand. You'll be getting more confidence. There's going to be a little bit of trial and error. So once again, do not be hard on yourself in this process. Just go out there and do it. That's it.
I guess Harsh has a kind of a maybe funny or mixed question, I guess. When you're gonna bring Kunal in QFM?
That's it. That's a good question. We have a full back. We have, like I said, we're recording a lot of episodes already. I think it's really just a matter of time. But hopefully, I can catch up with him at KubeCon and get even just 5 minutes of his time, because a lot of what we want to do as well is that we want to have a mixture of long form content, but then also other things that are just straight to the point. Like, tell me your most unpopular opinion, or tell me what's your take on this. If you had to choose between, let's say, Flux and Argo, which one would it be and why? All right, so just kind of getting to the point and getting people to think about, like I said, what are those trade-offs, things of that nature. So yeah, I certainly hope to. I'm almost positive Kunal will be at KubeCon, but I'll have to double check just in case. So hopefully I'll catch up with him there. And if not, I'll be in London next year for the State of OpenCon in February. So like I said, if not one place, it'll be in another.
So is it possible? Are you coming to India, because KubeCon is happening in India also? So is it possible?
Yes, that thing is, it's certainly possible. I need to find a business case to get out there, but I would absolutely love to. Do they have dates for KubeCon India already or not?
I guess it is in next year. I am not confirmed about the final dates, but I guess it is in 2024. I'm guessing.
I know it is in 20. Yeah, I know that. I do know that, and it's good because it's overdue. I think, and also particularly because every time there's a KubeCon and seeing all the difficulties around getting visas because of how things were backed up because of COVID and all that stuff. For me, the thing is, the CNCF is trying their hardest to get people out. These are issues related to governments and legal things around, diplomacy and stuff like that, and travel permissions. So I really feel like it's long overdue for this to be happening in India. I also know there's going to be Cube Day happening, which is very good, because there's an extremely active community of lots of learning, lots of knowledge sharing. And so, yeah, I really hope I can get out there for KubeCon India next year, for sure.
Yeah, we really want to meet you here in person.
Yes.
Because I get 2 chances to get into KubeCon, but I guess rejected by the visa stuff. So not able to join over so even same thing happened with the Open Source Summit Japan, actually. So
yeah, no, it's like I said, it's really unfortunate it happened to be that way, because it's just random luck in terms of who gets to go and who doesn't, which is very unfair. So I'm certainly hopeful that KubeCon India 2024 will not be the first, will not be the last, and that'll be something that can hopefully happen every year, because there's definitely enough energy and interest in people to make it happen. So yeah, I definitely hope to get out there.
I guess Harsh has a comment. Bart, let me aware you, once you arrive in India, there is no going back. You will fall in love with this place. There is much to explore up here. For sure, I can guarantee that. Yeah.
Good. I've heard the same thing from many people. And so no, I very much believe that. I think for me, one of the difficulties around traveling to India is having enough time. Like, I could have 6 months, and I would still need, another 60 months to be able to understand, I don't want to say everything, but to be able to get a better feel for things. So yeah, I should make that a regular trip.
For sure. And you can say this kind of a stream of last question of this stream. How any can become a CNCF ambassador, or what are the major contribution that we can think to apply before? Like, if any new beginner is listening to us and he or she wants to basically want to become a CNCF ambassador, and what is the contribution ratios, you can say, how much he or she wants to contribute to block part, or maybe open source and a proper code contributions, or non-code or low code contributions also. And apart, what's your take around it, basically, how to become a kind of,
it's a very
because many students actually approached me around the same thing, and I didn't have an answer because I'm not a CNCF ambassador, obviously. But the scene is, there is one CNCF ambassador, but I guess she's very busy. That's why maybe she's not able to get a time to basically share some insights about. So that's why I thought of to bring you here, and maybe the last question around CNCF ambassadors. So yeah, your take. Yeah.
Yep, very, very good question. What I would say, first and foremost, is that if you there are different ways to look at this. So we can take this, piece by piece. But one thing that I would say is there's not just one path to doing it. What I would highly recommend people to do is, look at if you look at the list of CNCF ambassadors that are on here, try to find things that you, all right. So you'll see that everyone that's on there, they'll have a bit about their profile, about who they are, about what they do. And that will inform you a little bit about, okay, if I want to become an ambassador, I should sort of reverse engineer and see what that person's doing. I would also say there are lots of other ways to contribute to the CNCF, and being an ambassador is not the only one. I'll also tell everybody, like, we don't get paid to be ambassadors. This is like a volunteer thing. And we do it because we think it's a valuable thing to do, and that it's a way to participate in the community. So if you look at the application process is listed on the CNCF website. I'll share this link as well too. And that way, if people want to look at, because they have shaped the program more in the last year, so that it has clear responsibilities and requirements. But once again, I am a non-technical person, so and I've been an ambassador now, like I said, for 2 years, and will hopefully continue to do so. So you have to be at least 18. You have to sign the standards of excellence, and here's where you have the more specific requirements. You have to participate in at least one of the following areas of expertise, right? You're either an active contributor to a CNCF project. Next one is being a SIG or a tag member, all right? Then, or the last one is an active leader in the community with a minimum of 1 year experience in organizing events, either virtual or in person, speaking at events, mentoring others, or creating content, right? So obviously my area of expertise falls into the last part, right? Because of leading communities, creating content. In terms of the content creation side, in the Data on Kubernetes community, I did over 220 live streams. I don't know exactly how many, multiple co-located events and KubeCons. Like I said, creating a ton of content about something. I'm not saying that there was like a magic number that's like, oh, if you do 99, then you're not in. If you do 100, then you are. But a lot of it generally comes down to being active in the community, either from a technical perspective or a non-technical perspective. I run the local meetup here, and I've been doing so now I was doing Data on Kubernetes meetups here, and now I'm just doing CNCF meetups in Bilbao. I do them in other parts of Spain. I host events in Europe, also in the United States. So like that's how I do it, but that doesn't mean that's how everybody has to do it. So if you start a CNCF meetup chapter in your local area, and you're doing stuff online or offline every month, once again, at least 1 year, right? So once again, don't be in a rush. Don't be in a hurry. Enjoy the process. And like I said, there are lots of different ways to be involved. But if you want to be an ambassador, my experience has been creating a lot of content, organizing a lot of events, speaking at events, also mentoring other people. Mentoring is one of the things that I need to figure out how to standardize, so I could probably do it every week or every 2 weeks, because it's something that I really enjoy doing. I'll actually be doing a mentoring session next week with Michael Cade. Very much looking forward to that. So yeah, it's a very good question. It's probably the question that I answer the most as an ambassador, because I understand people are curious and they're enthusiastic, but don't think that you can't do it. It's just going to take time. And so what's your strategy around, all right, and also just because you apply and you get rejected doesn't mean that you can't apply again. The application process is now happening every 6 months. In the past, it used to be just once a year, or it was kind of on an ongoing basis. So keep that in mind as well. But in general, look at the resources. Once again, what are you good at? What are you interested in doing? How can you combine those things? Generally speaking, for being a CNCF ambassador, it's not that you're doing something completely new. It's that you're already doing these things regularly, either for a company or just completely as a volunteer. A lot of things in my case are just sort of voluntary. It's not necessarily work related, but then other things are. So like I said, it's really up to everyone about each person about how they are going to craft that sort of case that would go into their application. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I guess it's like perfectly, you can say the on-point answer that like people want. And just to add on to that, folks, if you are near in Chhattisgarh, we also have our CNCG community, and we are doing meetups.
Do it. Yes. Go check it out. Go speak, learn.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess next month we will having a talk around MLOps actually, where we
Very
actually
good.
talk about a CNCF based product Kubeflow actually around MLOps pipeline kind of thing. So I hope so. If you want, you can join there also. We will like drop the registration RSVP link by this week, so you can be active on CNCF. Like we also have a Discord. You can chat over it. We will love to have you over there. And yeah, so last but not the least, I think so, like we also, those who are new to open source, and if you are not that familiar with you can say open source, or how to get started with the contribution part. So I'm just sharing one thing with you all. Just give me a moment. I think so I
It's all
added
good.
this thing. Yeah, I guess, yeah. So it is our community's org, and we are doing this by 2 to 3 years now. Even though we are trying to make it more active simultaneously, we are trying to work around it. So actually, we did last year we did a Hacktoberweek kind of because it's a 2.0 version. This is a first version, you can say, where we kind of touch around 50 plus valid PRs, which is merged actually, and some PRs are already in the thing. So if you want, there's some issues already open. If you want to contribute, you can. It's like from design contribution, like from non-tech contributions to code contribution, it is open for all. If you are a designer, you can want to contribute in design, you can do it. If you want to contribute in documentation, if you think like you can do something related to, so just let me give you example around it. So suppose if I go to the code part, and I go to maybe suppose Android contribution just for now. And if you think there's a maybe there's a app called meme share, right? So if you think like the readme is not perfectly fine, and if you use this project, and if you think like you want to maybe make this documentation better, or if you want to make it totally another thing, maybe we will not write documentation in readme part. We will create another space for documentation for this project, and if you want to do that, we will love to know around it. And if you want, again, raise an issue raising an issue is also a contribution, folks. So please do that. It also helps a lot of people to get started with the suppose you are not aware to how to implement that particular bug or feature. But if someone see that issues, so maybe they can basically contribute. So it's a two-way thing. It's not like you are also contributing through raising an issue, and they are also learning from by contributing that issue. So you can do that. This is a GitHub link, like you can say on the banner part if you want. And just to add more to it, last part, I'm not getting into more on it, but there's one more concept that we are working on right now. Oh, by the way, this is the OpenCo page. Our website is also open source. So if you think anything you want to contribute to that particular website, if you think there's something maybe on front end part, it is something issues or this like that, you can still raise an issue and you can contribute to it. But apart from it, we are working on one project actually right now, which is called OpenConnect. If you heard about meetup.com, which is like obviously which is for the to get to understand like is there any meetup happening near me. So what we are trying to do, it's just our trying initiative basically to convert or you can say clone meetup.com in an open source version. You can say it's an open source version of meetup.com. And again, all the things, if you will say, the issues are somewhat like I'm also trying to work on issues more on it, like all the good first issues. And if you want to understand how we are managing the projects around it, so you can go to the project tab and you click over the project tab part basically, and you can basically understand how it basically totally works with the like what are the variation that we are targeting of with the project table part, like how much we are thinking to contribute this issue or like done this with issue with this time kind of. So all the things are open, all the things are public. You can, if you want, you can raise an issue. If we will add those things, and we will love to have you on a Discord also. And again, Discord links in the description. You want to, if you want to join, you can join too. And this is our just basic try for if you want to if you want to be part of it. And again, I didn't take much more time around it. So, but yeah, again, thank you, Bart, for taking your time and sharing your insights with us. I hope so. Those who are joining, those who are joined, or those who are still with us, they get a lot of insights around it. And thanks for doing for the community that you are doing. Really appreciate it around it.
Likewise to you. I think that the explanation of everything you just shared there is such a valuable way of broadening the ecosystem, helping out to be more inclusive to people that come from different backgrounds, we all need good, user interface and user experience, designers.
Yep.
If it's only technical stuff, it's not going to get anywhere. This is, relationships of, interdependence.
True.
So I really, really like that you're making it possible for other people to get involved and not just feel like you have to be coding like all the time, and that's okay if you are, but that we need that balance of different profiles. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I encourage you to keep doing whatever you're doing. And I look forward to hanging out in India or wherever we happen to meet, but please let it be soon.
For sure. Like we will love to, or maybe I will try, if you stay something, maybe a week or 2 week kind of thing in India, maybe we can do a meetup with you here in Chhattisgarh. Like there's a state in India for we can do that for sure. Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. I would absolutely love that. So yeah, we'll be in touch and keep up the amazing work.
Sure. Thank you, Bart. Thank you. And thank you so much, folks, for joining. And even actually, I wanted to say in starting, but we can't. I actually said, but like I try to say in like hello friends in Spanish, that is hola amigo. And but maybe I can't say that on the starting point, but I can say maybe adios, maybe in a more better way. But I'm trying to learn Spanish stuff also, so slowly, I guess.
Perfect. No, there's no rush, but that's good. It's always good to learn new languages. So yeah, adios.
Yeah, adios. Yeah, see ya. And folks, again, you can say a day after tomorrow, there's another stream with Sanskar Devi, with Sanskar Jeti, who is basically creator of Robin OS. Basically, he's a kind of Rust-based backend stuff for Python, actually. And if you really wanted to understand the whole project around it, you can join us there. And hope so you had a great day. And we will love to have you kick around in the Discord server or anywhere. Try to go to /CNCF channel. We will drop that link in the description soon after the stream ended for sure. And you can join there. I guess Bart is already over there, so you can basically chit chat with him around if you have any doubt. Again, do not basically ping him just for the sake of it. If you have really genuine doubt around if you are exploring that stuff, so please go to it. But till then, I hope so you are doing awesome. And if you have any doubts, any queries, drop down in the comment section or go to the Discord server. They have proper channels around. For if you are a UIX designer, go to an UIX channel part. If you have a proper developer, they have proper channels around it, so we can talk around it. And apart from it, I guess there is no more question. If I let me check if there is any more question, but I don't think so. I'm just checking double. But yeah, I guess we will soon meet. And thank you, folks, for joining. And we will see you again. And yeah, bye. See ya. Take care.